welcome to another episode of Deca Debrief. I am C, or Sammy. We have Refical, say hello.
What up?
And we have Dino, say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Alright, we have sponsors. We have partners from the Nexus Network. This includes Dungeoneer, Fungal/Crystal Cavern Discord, and the Ideas Discord, as well as the Nexus Network Discord itself. Patreon. Special thanks to all of our patrons. You guys keep the podcast going. We actually have patrons this time, and you will get shouted out at the end of this episode. Extra thank you to Deca Akalos. Our last episode popped off, and we got an extra boost in engagement thanks to Akalos and all the peeps at Deca who are giving us a little, side glance. So thank you so much for your shout out on your Discord, your Facebook, your Twitter. We were super giddy about it all day. It was awesome. Okay, so your return to Realm. Mr. Dino, how has it been back on the game? Any major changes between before and now?
Oh boy, the last time I played was early 2022, late 2021. That was the last time I played. I took a long break. I came back to the game. The one notable thing is all the reworks. New Shatters is really fun, very deadly. I don't really like doing it a lot, probably just because it's new, but change is fun overall. I hate Cogs. That is probably like the devil's dungeon. At least the laser pointer is pretty fun. Other than that, it's like evil.
Advanced Cogs.
Advanced dungeons have been really fun too, besides Cogs. Mainly just Nest. That's basically just... Advanced Nest is really fun, because I'm a Nest enjoyer. I kind of like the not really hard Exalt dungeons like Fungals and Nests. They're kind of super enjoyable to me, so just kind of cranking them out and doing them again is really fun and enjoyable. I do love the 720 process. I'm never going to get 720, but getting exalts is really fun. I hope they make them faster, because most people don't have a lot of exalts. I think the class rebalances have been really nice. Bows being redone has been amazing. Putting like stat mod on a lot of things like scepters and Murky has made a lot of classes kind of pop off more than they used to before. And it's been really enjoyable to kind of explore a bunch of things. At first, it was a lot, like really overwhelming. But then when you kind of digest all the information again and kind of get into the things, it's pretty much same old Realm. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, it's been enjoyable so far.
Same old Realm. I feel like it's a completely different game now. What the heck? Compared to like Flash, at least. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I think for me, when I'm saying same old Realm, it's kind of like when Exalt was kind of first coming out and Exaltations were released. It's still kind of like the same, still the same gameplay loop at its core. Which isn't the worst thing. I think Forging kind of threw a wrench in the gameplay loop, which kind of made it a little better for players that kind of just like using good things and kind of like throw themselves at content. But overall, it still feels the same for me.
There's a lot of dungeon variety nowadays, and there's like different options for each exaltation now. Like maybe, what do you think about Moonlight Village?
Moonlight. I think Moonlight is a really fun dungeon. It's a very steep learning curve, I have to admit. But definitely one of my new favorites to do. I think it's one of those things where it's either you really enjoy it or you really don't. I have had a lot of people, very vocal opinions about it. I've had friends saying that it's like the worst thing that has come to the game, and I have other people who really enjoy it and are really passionate about the dungeon. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's nice because I come from a little bit of a Toho background. I enjoy Toho a lot. I've played majority of the games, including newer releases. I think the most recent Toho I've played, though, is like Toho with like the Wily Beast, which I think is Toho 19, if I remember that correctly. It's really fun, but that also brings a lot of gripes with the game, where Toho games have visible hitboxes and walk button. In this game, you frame skip every 5 seconds and you explode, so it's kind of painful playing the game. I think that's what kind of takes away from the fun of it, but I think if those are like issues that easily can be fixed if they're willing to kind of spearhead it. And I think it overall benefits the game, because I think survivability being a big aspect of the game is what makes it enjoyable. It makes the gameplay loop kind of fulfilling, because instead of you just kind of dying to nonsense the entire time, you actually could get improvement, and it kind of makes the attachment to the game a lot more enjoyable to most players. A lot of people getting driven away from the game is kind of just dying in stupid ways and kind of going away. I think when people can understand when they die due to greed, they kind of stay to the game a lot longer because they're kind of limit testing, rather than when you die to like server issues. The game kind of being unoptimized, it's kind of a turn off immediately.
What do you think about some quality of life changes? Like maybe, because you know how in Toho you have like self-slow and the hitbox?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this game needs walk button really bad.
Yeah, I agree.
I think with the shift of gameplay that's coming towards the game, I think you really do need walk button and other things like that. I think that's the biggest thing that would change the gameplay the most.
I wish they had like Vit for Moonlight instead of mana, because when you're doing a Lost Halls, you're already getting mana if you're doing Def. So I feel like if you're gonna randomize it and make it either life, which is hard, attack, which is hard, make it something that's awful to get Vit.
I think that as an Exaltation dungeon has been the biggest issue for a lot of people pushing 4720 in a nutshell. And I think that kind of loops into like game accessibility for quality of life. I think the biggest part of the game is kind of fluidity and kind of being able to get on and kind of having a clear goal and being able to do what you want to do. And it kind of sucks the majority of the community don't want to do Cogs because one, it's too long, two, not a lot of people enjoy the loot pool. Like if you don't really care about like socket blade or laser pointer, like you'll never do the dungeon. There's no need to. And it's not like advanced cogs give you 2 exalts for completing it. And advanced cogs are a pain to complete. And I feel like it's kind of worth it if it were to give 2 exalts. Even if it's like how Orcs gives a chance of giving you an extra exalt, I still think it would be worth it. But I just think since it's such like a turn away, it kind of ruins the aspect of exaltations because now you have one whole stat you don't want to do because it's such a boring dungeon to do overall. I think that's the common agreeing factor about Cogs. It's just a lot of downtime, a lot of staring at nothingness, and it's pretty bad.
Banner Cogs.
Yeah, banner cogs are really the only reason that I'll ever run cogs. Yeah, there really isn't a proper reason to run cogs.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Speaking of like banner, key mods have been another interesting thing. I think exaltation should not be based off of key mods. I think key mods should be a nice like sprinkle to your exaltation process, but I think the fact that the only way people can even imagine exalting their Vit or even want to do it is if like it is a banner cog, just because of the efficiency and like time is money for people. So why go waste your time doing that when you can just go do another dungeon like Oryx, which is a lot more enjoyable, or Shatters, which just has a really good item pool, and just do those over and over again instead of like getting fully exalted characters, unless it's like that's like something you enjoy, like completionist, kind of getting all the characters fully exalted and getting the benefits from it as well.
I did want to say, I think Cog would be run a lot more if all of the items weren't just fucking swap out upgrades. I mean, besides like Clockwork Repeater, but like, what was it, Socket Blade and Tetsukotl's Tail upgrade are like literally just swap outs. So you're grinding for this like 1 in 100 item that you can craft onto another white just to get a fucking swap out. That's absurd.
Yeah, I wish there was kind of more like main gear swap outs in Cogs, because I think that's another thing this game needs, like a lot more like mid-game to end-game transition. And I think some of the easier exaltation dungeons should kind of give you stuff that can let you do the harder exaltation dungeons, which is true in a way. Like, you know, getting breastplate from Halls is a really nice, you know, melee upgrade, because a lot of things kind of armor pierce in this game now. I feel like Def is not a dead stat, but kind of a stat that kind of gets overlooked when things hit you for like 120 armor pierce and you're going to be in combat anyway.
Yeah, it's a dead stat.
Yeah,
it's a dead stat.
I think the only nice thing that Def is nice on is like Night, just because you could have like the things that will hit you for regular non-armor pierce damage will just tickle you and you'll just not be in combat and you kind of just run around like a powerhouse. And I think that's really enjoyable. But other than that, on other classes, like, enjoy your combat while you're, like, on a robe class. You're pretty much going to be in combat, like, 95% of the time if you're getting hit. Which is another thing where it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, the thresholds are low for that reason, because pets are a big balancing issue. But I feel like if everything armor pierces, it's like, you're just killing another stat. It's like back when Wiz and Vit were kind of irrelevant because of, like, pets in general. But now we have Wizmod, and now we have dungeons where your pet is disabled, or it's just nice to have, like, good Vit regen. Where it's just like, that's now fixed, but now we have another problem where it's like, it's a little, like, bit of a gray zone where I hope they kind of do more with. Like, I hope Def kind of gets, like, its glory again. Because I think the real nail in the coffin was when they changed Def from, like, armored from 2x to 1.5. I just felt like, oh man, there's like no point of even like deciding to have anything like armored anymore. Like Prot Jug is like whatever now. You might as well just go like full HP, full offensive, and just kind of like run it that way.
Even MSeal, as somebody who leads Shatters a lot, MSeal's like basically fucking useless except for like helping a little bit in like 2 phases. Like, what is it, the reds and small grids. Like there's very, very like small niche cases for armored, but it's fucking useless.
I love how MSeal is considered like PvP now during Twilight.
Yeah, actually, that griefs more than it helps.
Bombs. Yeah, literally called out not to put MSeal or Fungals down because it hides the bombs.
You shouldn't use it in balance. You shouldn't use it in spits. You shouldn't use it in finale. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's just a grief.
And it's so sad because it used to be one of like the go-to items to get. I remember like people would love getting M seals because it'd make people feel like they're like Superman in the game. You see an M seal, everyone will run on top of it, and like you're like the leader of the group. You know what I mean? You place the M seal, everyone will flock around it because they want the armored. But now it's like whatever. Like I could care less if there's an M seal. I kind of care more about like having like Bard buff than like Inspire than having like armored, because that gives me more survivability.
Speaking of weird mechanics, fucking T0 Tome being best in slot, like out
What
of any
even
buff,
happened, man?
dude. Yeah,
What even happened?
I like how like the optimal situation for like support classes is you want a fucking T0 Tome up your fucking ass.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I remember when Fungal used to be the thing, but Fungal's the same griefing issue where it's like you place a Fungal, you block a bomb, now you insta-die. I think it's another problem with like Priest itself and how they want to take group play. Obviously, it sucks that like they want to limit group play in a certain way where you can't just spam heal, but the fact that like running like Gemstone Tier 0 Tome, and you just kind of like burst heal now because of like how diminishing healing works, because before at least you'd have to get the items for it to be kind of broken, but now it's kind of like you need like half of it now, you know?
Dude, you spawn into the fucking game 1 out of 4 on Priest. That's insane.
So, out of all the new content that has been released, what's your favorite so far?
My favorite, Void Quiver and Primary Slot. No, but
No.
Genuine feature of the game that has been added. I'd have to say it's really small, but I think Pet Saddlebag has been like my like favorite thing. It's so minuscule, but I think being able to just kind of carry on consumables and carrying on pots, anything to kind of make the maxing process kind of like less tedious, is kind of like the thing I enjoy about the game the most, because I feel like you could kind of have more of a push your limits type of aspect of the game when you kind of could get back into it and, you know, still get Exalt, still kind of have a fully maxed character, because I feel like that's like the lame part of the game. I think maxing is kind of like, I don't want to say like a relic of the past, but I feel like it's like super irrelevant compared to what it was before, especially with like the economy super inflated with pots, like greater life and greater mana just get spewed out everywhere. Like the rarest pot is speed.
Yes, like actually.
So it's like, it just shows like how like pots are just kind of like so old school that it doesn't really like matter to me about maxing. So I think Saddleback kind of helps a lot because it kind of gets you back into the game a lot more, so you can carry more things.
Yeah, Jeevit's also fucking meaningless.
I love Saddlebags so much. I love loading into a realm and popping my energy signet, and everyone is like, why am I a Jinja? It is so funny. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
Actually, that is part of the Unity campaign that happened during the...
Such a long time ago.
whenever
He's such
that
a
was.
nerd. Such a fucking nerd.
It's so funny. And then people will recognize my name and be like, "See, can you do it again, please?" And I'm like, "I got you, bro."
It's like a party trick.
Did you put your beach ball in your saddlebag yet?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Whenever I'm just like in like a boring dungeon like Void, I just kind of have the beach ball and I just bouncing around on the platform.
The 2-minute cooldown waiting for Oryx to go to castle. Just beach ball.
Oh man. I think the best part is the new realm as well. I think Beta Realm, or just the realm rework, has made the game so much better. I think it incentivizes people to actually play the game, because before, like, old event lights are kind of like dated now, which really sucks, because it's like, you have Dirk and you have Avarice. Avarice is obviously just better. Dirk is like going to be good in like very like specific scenarios. You're not going to use Jug anymore because Armored's like bricked. Oreo's very nice in certain scenarios, but I feel like Oreo's kind of like training wheels in a way. Like, you're not going to use Oreo forever unless you just want to leech forever. That's up to you.
Oh yeah, it's nice as a learning tool, but it's a bad habit to build.
I think it's good to kind of see what kind of happens in the dungeon, but I think after you kind of like absorb all the information, it's time to actually play the game and like put away the Oreo and start using like proper seals.
You know, I never had an Oreo, so I would never know.
Cooked.
Oh,
Cooked.
one day. It's fun. You get to like run through stuff. Like, you get to ignore phases. It's really stupid. It's like, it's just better Kensei ability. Because with Kensei ability, the voices don't speak to you. You don't want to dash over a boss and explode. So, you know, you have the self-control now. It's more of a defensive tool instead of like an offensive tool, which is what it's supposed to be. But same thing would goes for a lot of the other event whites where it's like very niche uses and you don't really get to use it a lot. With the new event whites, a lot of them are niche, but they're really, really good at like their niche. Like the Risen Hell's seal is really, really good. Just a main seal or a swap out. Like just putting the debuff and then like popping another seal gives you so much damage output. And it's like I think they did a really good job of making these new items. Besides like, I don't know, like the new staff, it's pretty weird. But other than that, everything else is actually really, really good. And I think that's something we need more.
I forgot you're like a swap out king, that you love swapping. I am not a swap out person. I can't do it.
I mean, like, yeah, I think swap out's really fun because it kind of like keeps the gameplay like entertaining. I think after a certain point of gameplay, when you're kind of comfortable with the game, it's kind of like using all your tools like properly and kind of getting the best out of like, you know, the limited gameplay it is. Because at the end of the day, it's just like moving, shooting, and pressing your ability key. So kind of mixing swaps and kind of getting the most out of it is like the best thing. And when you watch someone really good at like good with swaps, it's actually like really impressive. I think a good example is kind of when you swap between the SC Archer set and like Leaf Bow Void Quiver. Because like the bow itself doesn't do a lot of damage in that 2-piece set, but the sentry just goes crazy. So you just put on the 2 set, place a sentry, swap to just a good bow, and just go crazy. And it's really nice because you could tell that the damage output is insane. And I think that's the really fun part about Realm is that the skill ceiling is super, super high. It's just up to you if you want to explore it or not. And I think that's like the charm of Realm that kind of keeps me interested whenever I talk about it. As fundamentally as bad as the gameplay loop is to some degree, I think a lot of it is kind of the goals you make. Like everything I think in Realm nowadays is kind of like a self goal because there's not really
Objective.
a clear goal anymore. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like sure you can say like the end goal is 720, but I feel like people have to realize getting that is like you're gonna do everything while you're getting that. Like once you're done, it's basically done. But I feel like a real good like end game objective kind of like inspires you to do like a new game plus in a way. And I feel like just getting some drop rate is kind of like unlucky. You know what I mean? It's like I already got most stuff. You've done how many of like the dungeons? Like over 1,000 of each dungeon, events included. So like you have so many chances of getting what you need that I feel like once you're done with the whole like thing, I feel like the options are so much more limited for content in the game that I feel like they need to just add more things where it's like not necessarily a forced route to take, but kind of more of like
More
you
options.
can do this and it's optional. And I think doing that is adding more Exalt dungeons as well, because it's something that helps along with the journey. And I think that's the biggest part for a lot of like the Realm players is that when you think about playing Realm, you're not going to think about like when you hit 720. It's kind of more so like how it was, like the people you met, everything you did, like kind of like how you transformed as a player. Because at the end of the day, when you hit 720, you just get in your loot drop. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's all it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the 720 is the friends we made along the way. I'd like to think.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
It is
It's true.
You've played OSRS, right?
No, I haven't.
No? I mean, if you've ever like seen content for OSRS, it's the same thing. Like, there's level 99 max cap for like something like 50 or 60 skills. And the whole like getting to max level on all your skills is just kind of, that happens later. Go figure out your mining first. Go do what you want to do first. And then like, you know, it's their version of 720. It comes at the end, but it'll happen over time. You shouldn't focus on it. I think that's a really big problem with a lot of players, especially that play in these discords, is that they focus purely on 720, and that's the fastest route to burnout.
Not to like stray too far from like Realm, but like from like my like grinding game, like Maple Story.
Oh no.
A lot of it is just kind of sitting and farming. But, like, the only reason you do it is to get stronger to fight harder content. And I think that's the thing. The content scaling of that game is, like, they basically make it impossible so people always have a goal at the end of the day. Even if your goal isn't to beat the hardest content, there is a point where you could stop and be happy with what you've grinded for. You know what I mean? Like, I can sit and keep farming every day and get stronger. And there will be something for me to clear, but there will be a point where I'm content. Because I can see the work I put in, and I get to like reap the benefits very well. Well, in Realm, I kind of feel like reaping the benefits is a lot harder because you kind of could do the same content with like wine cellar tops with compared to like 4-4 gear. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't need to have an urge to get stronger in Realm, especially if your goal is for 720, because at the end of the day, it's a dungeon complete. It's not how much work you're putting in and like how much effort you're helping the group. It's just, if I made it to the end of the dungeon, I got my +1 dungeon complete, it's time for the next one. And I think that's kind of like the toxic gameplay cycle a lot of people have with this game.
I think there's a very niche community for like DPS pumpers too, but it's like, I don't know, it definitely doesn't appeal to a lot of gamers. Like your average fucking gamer doesn't care about topping an O3. You might bring your fucking David Dagger, nobody else cares. You know, they're just here for their Escu on seasonal or whatever. What's something you personally want to see implemented in a realm?
Well, obviously, the walk button earlier, but besides that, sheesh, I just want more like variety, you know what I mean? Like I feel like we don't need some like new flashy endgame dungeon. I feel like if we're really gonna want to make like seasonal kind of like the go-to thing for everyone to kind of like geek about, we need more things like in between everything. I feel like you kind of just max your character and you go run it down like the endgame mine still, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, besides for the people who want their like few shiny items, besides that kind of like little detour on like your journey, it just feels like you're gonna end up playing base realm, but now you have that extra little excitement that people lost because of like Forge, because you can't forge shinies. So like now I guess like high is like getting a shiny now for some people, you know what I mean?
It's also difficult to forge on seasonal, which is something I appreciate. You know, on main vault,
that's
it's like
really nice.
Yeah, like when you see like a crown on like main vault, you're like, oh, this guy like fucking crafted it or something. Who cares?
Yeah, the item rarity for everything going down is also something else that's like super interesting. It's kind of weird. I feel like I kind of like die now, and I don't like feel as much as like I used to before. It just kind of feels like, oh, I have to go wait a few days to go like make this item again. And I think that's because I'm more of like a person who hoards everything. So I have so much forge fodder that like I could go die on like 4 more 4/4 characters, and like I could just forge back the same 4/4 characters I lost.
Same.
And I think that's kind of like the toxic like relationship I have with Forge. As much as I think it's nice, I think it kind of like drained one aspect of the game, which really sucks because I feel like the excitement of getting something and it being what you want is like the drive that a lot of people had. And I think that's what kind of killed my like, this sounds weird, like kind of like my generation of like Realm players, like why we all quit the time we did was kind of because like Forge came out, and it's like a lot of us kind of like played the game, and the name of the game was kind of like being good and collecting all the items and kind of like going out and just kind of being like a collectionist. I remember people would have like their white bag like checklist, but now it's like I don't ever need to go see a ghost ship ever again. I could just go craft a vile trap.
Yeah.
That's not a problem anymore, you know what I mean? Like I don't need to ever see like a peacekeeper drop. I could just go kill like 2 bracers, and then I'll end up with one in my like inventory. You know what I mean? I feel like that aspect of the game is so like far gone that I feel like the game's kind of like in a weird limbo state of like, what is it trying to be? Is it trying to be like a life skilling game where you go tend to like your cog crop and you just go do your cogs, get your vit, and you know max that out? Or is it like actually supposed to be like a bullet hell game where you're supposed to like try your heart out and get like really like good gear? And I feel like it's kind of striking a weird balance in the game.
Yeah, we're definitely an in-between point. I mean, with all the realm rework happening, and they reworked so many like mid-game to endgame dungeons. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the same game as before, but it still doesn't feel like a finished product. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, this game feels very incomplete.
Because I think like a hard question, like if someone asked me like genuinely like what is like the point of Realm, like what, like if I were to play it right now, what should I go do? I'd just like shrug, you know what I mean? Like I genuinely don't know. It'd just be like, go play the game. That's literally
go do some
it.
fucking
Like,
trains.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know what to tell that person. I just feel like, and I just feel like Deca also doesn't convey what they want from the game. I kind of wish they would kind of just like lay it on us. Like, this is what we want from the game. This is our goal. Like, you guys either gonna like rock with it or not, but this is like what we're gonna try to pursue and see how it goes. I'd rather kind of have that concrete kind of mindset than kind of like we'll make dungeons like Moonlight where it's super hard. You can't make any of the whites, but some people can get it. And then we're gonna make other dungeons like, I don't know, dude, like advanced Cog where no one can do it, but it's not been worth doing it. Like what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, you have to add value to these things. Like, if Advanced Cog gave you, like, amazing enchants on, like, all the good gear people like getting, then it'd be worth it to not go, like, to, what's it called? My bad. To forge stuff. Because when you forge stuff, you don't get the engraving slot. You have to get it as a dropped item. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that would kind of fix the gameplay loop. I think it would kind of be like, you play the game, you get the whites. Even if you get the wrong whites, you can change it to the whites you want until you get the white you need. And then you can upgrade it with other endgame content. And if the game's supposed to be kind of like a pseudo power trip thing where it's like you scale your character to be super strong, and then it could all fall apart when you die, I think that's good. Because you want to do it again, you know what I mean? It's like, that was great. Like, I had a really good process. Sure, it's going to suck in the moment. Like, man, I just lost all of that. But you have to realize there are parts of the game where you built up to it and you still got to use fun things because you were still able to go craft like a Glad Guard. Like, you were still able to go use an Enforcer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You should be able to feel the life cycle of a character instead of it just being like, oh, there's my divinity. Go make a new one. Yeah,
I feel like people kind of like die and they're like, hold on, go into the vault, and they come out with a fresh 4/4, like instantly max, because like you just get spat potions out, especially with the new realm. If like you genuinely like take like 2 weeks of your life to go farm the specific potion you need from each biome, you could just end up looking with a full gift chest of just like greater potions. So you just go in your vault, instantly like poop out an 8/8 character, and then oh yep, you could just run it or like run it down again. You know what I mean? I feel like it's so like numbing, which is like really bad.
I'm going to backtrack a little bit, and this is going to be a little bit off topic, but it's kind of absurd with the advanced cogs, how the enchantments suck, but the advanced nest ones are like actually best in slot on like 3 different weapon types. Like,
which is crazy.
What are they doing, bro? What are they doing with fucking weapon balance?
I think it's okay to like make like old gear kind of have like these neat like new properties.
I love it, but cogs should be better. Like, why did the enchants fucking suck from cogs
but like
so bad?
Why do Oryx whites have worse enchantments, but the Cutlass?
Yeah, dude.
I get when I'm randomly maxing my speed will be best in slot for me.
Best in slot Cutlass. Best in slot Fallen Wand. I like the Fallen Wand though. That one's fun.
That one is. And then what? What's the last one? Leaf Bow too.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Leaf Bow needs to kind of be better than tiered, because tiered bow being the best bow in the game is kind of goofy in my eyes.
I do agree.
I think no tiered weapon should be Bis, and I know that's gonna like hurt some sort of like bowman when like they're gonna look at all their tier 14 bows in their like vault and they're like, these are my children, don't say that about them. But like, it's true.
Do you remember when
like,
Void Bow was like a skilled swap out, and now it's worthless because you can just use T14 and it's just better?
Yeah, you could just perma-rock T14. It just doesn't matter, and it just doesn't matter. I think there needs to be things where there's stepping stones to Bis, and then like, I don't mind if there's Bis. Like, there are just gonna be Bis items in certain games, and that's perfectly fine. As long as they're difficult to get and like it's a process, I think that's good. I think being overpowered in Realm is probably something people want to be. You know what I mean? People want to see their like what crazy stats. Like, that's why people like want to go pump. And if someone wants to be a one-man army, I think you should let them enjoy that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like it takes away from people when a lot of the game balance is like, we don't want people steamrolling content, but it's like, okay, you don't want people steamrolling content, but you also want people to keep playing the game and playing the gameplay loop, but the gameplay loop is doing the same content over and over again. Why don't you just make various content that has everything spread out so it like the game kind of pads its playtime itself, you know what I mean? Like, if you have to go to the realm to get one thing, and then you have to go do dungeon running for another thing, and then you have to go forge for another thing, it's kind of like, it's like a good checklist, you know what I mean? You don't have to be stuck in the same gameplay loop where it's like, oh, I just died, it's time to go get Forge Fighter and recraft all my stuff, and then go to Advanced Nest for like, God knows how long, because that engraving does not drop.
It really doesn't.
And like, get back to that point. I feel like there should be more of a concrete like progression in the game. Even if it's a little tedious, you kind of, as long as you know what to do, that's fine, you know? And as long as the reward is like plentiful, like if you feel like a powerhouse when you complete your character, that's good because you put in the hours to get to that point. And I think you just kind of, as like a company, you kind of have to come to like an acceptance that there are just going to be some people who are just going to be consistently better than others that are just going to get to that point of the game where most of their characters will just be powerhouses, and that's just how they're going to play the game. And that's just fine, you know what I mean? Not everyone's going to get to that point, but not everyone needs to get to that point.
How did you first get into pub halls and make your way up to owner? I remember we talked about it like very briefly recently about how you, I don't want to say speed ran your way to owner. Sped ran. I don't know the word, man.
Yeah, I was in, like, I was using Discords prior to like Hall's Discord, so I was already like acquainted to like the whole thing. I remember the only reason I joined a Hall's Discord in the first place was because someone was spamming it in a realm to join this Hall's Discord, and I was like, this is the new content. I want to join this. And Hall's release came out, people were prepping for it, and I joined a smaller Hall server called like Lost Souls Hideout, and that was the first server I got moderator in, and I loved everyone there. They were all great people. Servers sadly died off, so I was like, all right, it's might as well time to go to like the big fish, you know what I mean? I joined pub halls, and I was like, all right, well, time to get staff here. So I literally messaged one of the admins, hey, can I go trial? When there wasn't trialing in the server yet, and they're like, yeah, man, sure, go for it. Like, I've seen you lead before. So I got legally trialed the first few like days I was in the server. A whole argument broke out. I ended up getting staff. I was not very liked because of that initially. I kind of saw like how the place was ran, and I was like, I think I could do a pretty good job, and I kind of dedicated myself to the server and the game. It was a big part of my childhood, to be honest, and I met a lot of really nice friends, so I still play games with this day, just not Realm. It just kind of like went from there. I kind of just spoke to everyone. I did everything I needed to do, and Cansonio really trusted me with the server, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna be the guy, and he just gave it to me. It was like a 7-month process, I think like 6 or 7. I remember someone counting it up. It's like, yeah, you were TRL to admin in 7 months, and I was like, yeah, I don't know.
Cansonio, my goat. What's something you're really proud of the server for?
Proud?
Because you've been here a while.
I'm just happy that there's always a place for someone to kind of go to do the content of the game, because a lot of the content is really inaccessible unless you go buy it yourself or you want to like slowly kind of slug through it. Like pre New Realm, right? Like old Realm. Before the rework, if you wanted to do halls, you had to go do sentries, and only 1 sentry spawned per realm. And then you'd have to go clear it with a bunch of like random people who would probably be like not even level 20 yet, and it'd be pretty painful to do. So I think I'm just really happy that there's just a place for people to kind of come together and do the raids and kind of can do more with the game. Because after playing the game for a certain amount of time at face value, it's like, if you don't want to be an exalting type of person, like in modern day, I think leading is kind of something you can get into. It kind of gets you more interested in the game. It kind of gets you interested more like mechanically of the game rather than just kind of playing it at face value. And I think it adds a lot more layering to the game. I know a lot of people think it's like pointless. Everyone is valid to their own opinion, but I think the only reason it's not pointless to me is because it creates a community that the game itself would not be able to like make. Like, you just take one good look at the guild system, it's just a 50-person chat room. That's literally it. I guess you have G Hall and you have guild. Like, yay, HP pots, you know what I mean? But other than that, it's like, that's all guilds are. There's no like exclusive guild content. There's no like guild keys with like dead guild fame. There's no like guild events where it's like, if a set amount of your guild members play for this amount of time, you get a reward. There's nothing like that for guilds, so I feel like you can't even say like, oh yeah, man, like people would have just resorted to just guild play, because it's like, yeah, at a certain point, sure, you'd have a bunch of people kind of sitting in like their guild discords, kind of just messing around playing the game, but after a while, I feel like you would kind of make the game have a big sub-community problem where it's like, yeah, only like these top 5 guilds know how to run like shatters and halls, and you have to join them to get into it, and like what would the requirements be, and it'd add more nuance to the game than what it is now.
Do you think endgame content is feasible without Discord rating?
With new HP scaling, definitely. I mean, like, just look at a lot of O3 groups. The most efficient group you can do is like I think proper HP skills, like 17 to 18 people with proper classes, you'll blow up Oryx. It kind of makes the boss like a joke at that point, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I think with new HP scaling, it definitely is now. The organization of it, I still think is very flawed, especially considering, like, again, just go look at the amount of dungeons you have to do to 720. I feel like if you didn't have Discords, people would be playing this game for 7 years before they get 720.
Yeah.
And, like, that's not good. If you genuinely think that's good, like, that's not good for a game's, like, health. Like, people want to have a realistic goal to, like, get to. Like, maybe if it was, like, even a quarter of the dungeons, I'd be like, yeah, like, you don't need Discords to go do that. Like, just go enjoy the game, go get a group of friends, and go, like, enjoy it. But it feels like with the sheer amount of stuff you need to do, it just kind of feels like you kind of need an organized, like, place to do these type of things.
Yeah.
I mean, servers have always been, like, Discord servers specifically have always been, like, a super polarizing aspect of the game. Like, look at the Reddit and how much they despise all the very endgame Discords. If you had something that you could say to the people who hate those kinds of servers, what would you say?
Just look at other games. Look at literally any other game. A lot of it is just you join a Discord and you kind of play with each other. And this is coming from a person who plays a lot of solo queue games as well. I still prefer, like, the aspect of being with other people in a Discord and having the coordination. I feel like it's something you shouldn't take away from people, especially if a lot of people want to be efficient. Or even if, like, back to, like, being a solo player, like, not a lot of people want to go socialize. Some people just kind of want to load up the game and go play the game. And it's really easy to just kind of be like, hey, what dungeon's being ran right now? Oh, this is being ran, let's just go run it. I feel like it kind of takes away from a lot of different play styles and a lot of different perspectives of different players. And I think just because it doesn't fit your perspective doesn't mean you should kind of, like, burn it to the ground, because you just don't have to use the resource. No one's forcing you to use Discords. And if you truly believe that the game is forcing you to use Discords, then that's a problem with the game itself. That's not the Discord's fault.
Do you feel like maybe a lot of the endgame Discords, especially, do you think Discords kind of just encourage the use of hacked clients?
No, because I feel like they were used when, like, I was a kid. You know what I mean? I feel like it's kind of like the culture of the game now. I think it's a lot more widespread because of Discords, because it's just like people kind of, yeah, and it's kind of like people kind of just introduce people to the game like that as well. So even without Discords, like, obviously people won't admit it, but, like, people have said, like, yeah, like, I would play this game and my friend would just be like, yeah, just hop on a client. Like, you don't like dying? Like just do this. It's just something that sadly got normalized. It's kind of bad that people prefer playing on client, because I just think it kind of makes the game even more trivial than it is. But at the same time, they're kind of playing their, like, own type of game at that point.
Another thing that I don't like about the, God, dude, cults without rushers. And by rushers, okay, let's be honest. How many rushers don't have client on? Getting your fucking speed exaltations without client people? I'm sorry, but that's actually just impossible.
When you know you have a goated rusher, it is just so much easier. So much easier.
And I mean, like, yeah, and that's why I'm kind of glad, like, if we were to, like, abolish cheaters, if, like, we somehow got rid of cheaters, I'm glad they made, like, the 3 pot change, because now it's like, oh boy, we don't have to full clear the dungeon to do the dungeon. It's now just we have to go basically half clear the dungeon to do the dungeon, yeah. Which is still pretty painful. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why, but it's like, yeah, it still sucks.
I think maybe that's just a flaw with halls. I think the clear is like, the clear for cult is dumb. It shouldn't take as long as it does.
There needs to be a lot of game rebalancing, but I don't know where the game wants to go, so I can't even give, like, proper, like, experienced player, like, advice of, like, how I would make the game, like, better in a certain way. Because in my eyes, I feel like the game should just kind of be like a rarity of, like, doing dungeons, running stuff, and kind of enjoying yourself. But in other people's eyes, it's just different. So it's kind of hard without, like, them kind of setting a set path of how the game should be played.
They used to release their design, not their design doc, but they used to have this, like, you remember the dev newsletter where they would always, like, say what they're working on, what they plan for the game? I miss those. I feel like maybe they
did a lot when I used to play.
Yeah, it feels like there hasn't really been one for, like, a year. Maybe because of the realm rework. I think they said they were going to slow down on those because they said that they're basically not working on anything except the realm rework until this thing's finished, which is fair. I think all focus should go to that, to be honest. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I do think the realm is the weakest point of the game. I'm not gonna lie. For the game called Realm of the Mad God, you barely go to the realm. It's like it's more like Bazaar of the Mad God, and sometimes you fight the Mad God.
U.S. Northwest, right Bazaar.
U.S. Northwest, right Bazaar. Bazaar of the Mad God.
What the hell, man?
So it's like I'm glad they're making the realm more useful, and I love realm clearing. Again, I love like monotonous grinds, so like running around the realm and killing stuff is super, super fun. Especially knowing that you can get something really good out of it. I love that aspect of the new realm, and I can't wait for them to see what they add more to it. I kind of hope the realm itself is kind of like a big old dungeon, you know what I mean? Where like there's a bunch of events you can do like solo and or with group, but it doesn't affect closing the realm. I think that would make just orcs just happen more naturally, and then that fix one of the 8 Exalt dungeons. Yay! We're making progress, you know what I mean?
Hey, did you know they're getting rid of Janice?
Oh.
Why? I mean, I know why, but it's like...
dungeons are dropping in the freaking realm, man.
Yeah, maybe they just get rid of Castle entirely, which I would really enjoy, to be honest.
I wouldn't mind.
I'd be super down for that.
What about ASS?
I think what they can do is they make a beacon. They make a beacon in like the middle of like the realm. And when you hit 100 realm score, you kill the Stone Guardians to enter 01, and then you go to 02, and then you go to 03.
Wait, did you listen?
I don't know.
Did you listen to our last episode?
No, I've never watched an episode.
Dude, you suck.
So that was literally something I thought of.
We talked about like having like orcs just spawn in the fucking middle, to be honest, and just be like, oh yeah, go do your fucking 03, and then like big old portal spawns.
Boom.
I think like there's 2 ways of doing it, because obviously I don't want like things to be unused. Like it could either be like Janice, like, combined with, like, the Stone Guardians in the middle. It's, like, some really cool, like, 100% boss fight. You redo, like, how Scudam is. You, like, make Ass, like, a cool event white. And, I don't know, you just give it, like, the gemstone treatment. Everyone with an Ass just has a really cool weapon now. Yay! Or something. Or make, like, an Ass enhancer. You know,
what the hell? That is a crazy statement.
But, you know, it's just something really cool, you know what I mean? Something that'll get people hyped to, like, actually go do it and participate in the fight. Because obviously you want, like, a good reward if you want people to actually go clear it. And then it just leads to orcs, you know? Like, maybe we could, like, murder orcs 1 or something. Like, maybe you don't need 01 anymore.
Realm clearing should be a Vit Exalt. I just want another Vit Exalt so badly.
You're so dead. Make it Umi.
Oh, I can't even do Umi.
Just make it Umi anyway. Umi should give something besides fucking G mana, like...
What? You don't like G-Life, G-Wiz?
Dude, G-Life, G-Wiz, let's go. I love the art.
2-bag, G-Life, G-Wiz.
Fit ring.
Oh my god. The amount of G-Vit I have, because Moonlight and Shatters primarily drops G-Vit, so it's just like nobody ever needs Vitality ever again. Nobody has ever needed Vitality. You can have all of it. I have like 200 on main vault.
Dude, I'll take it.
Okay.
I died a lot recently. I need to rebuild. It's good.
Okay, I got everything except speed and dex.
Oh, fuck.
I wonder why we never have speed and dex.
At least Nest drops a lot of dex. It just, you know, once you've done those exalts, you don't need them anymore.
No, but you need Advanced Nest. That's the thing, and Advanced Nest is actually good.
Oh yeah, true. And 2 bags. So that means 2 G dex.
Exactly. So I think the dex problem is honestly fixed in this game. The fact that you need to exalt Nest for dex, and then if you want engravings, you get more dex. I think dex is like a solved problem. I think every other pod is a solved problem, literally besides speed. We need a dungeon that drops speed pods, that exalts Vit, that doesn't take 9 minutes to clear per dungeon.
Yeah, it takes a very, very long time.
I love how I have become like a pot dump for so many of the staff in pub, like including you both, because it's just, I keep fucking dying, and then people are just like, see, do you have any space? I really need to get rid of pots in my vault. And I'm like, dude, just come at me, bro.
Pot dumpster.
Okay, maybe I should have chosen different words. Holy shit. What were you gonna say?
What the hell was I gonna say? I don't even remember. Oh yeah. Do you have any particular goals that you set yourself in Realm? Like, do you want to go for 720, or do you kind of just like ball out until you die on your characters?
I think 720 is a mindset.
Enough said right there. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't want to be mean to anyone who got 720, but that is like, I think, to put it lightly, if Realm was the only game I played, yeah, I'd go get 720. I like other games though.
Yeah, it's fucking brain rot too. I don't even.
It's too bad. It's like, and the thing is, when this is where like why I don't like Cogs, because if you miss banner Cogs, you probably miss doing the quote unquote efficient Cogs for the next like probably like 3 weeks maybe, until someone else thinks of, I want to drop a bunch of money on banner Cogs now, and then just does banner Cogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in pub, you're kind of just waiting on Nipple to get his paycheck. Really, like that's when you do Cogs. Is when Nipple gets his fucking.
But he's
paycheck.
done with Cogs. That's the thing.
Oh,
he's
hell
done with Cogs, done with Nest, so he'll never pop those dungeons ever again.
I missed the train.
He's doing
now.
Fungals right now.
I'm gonna wait for fucking.
And I've been in a lot of the Fungals. I'm like 2-5 on everything on Wiz right now.
I gotta fucking wait for Keep Op Slave then.
Yeah.
Didn't he quit? I thought he left the server.
I'm never getting banner Cogs from anyone, man.
Are we cooked? We're cooked.
That's what I'm telling you. It's over. Like, if you weren't there for like one of the like banner Cog like hype trains, like it's going to be so miserable to get that Vid Exalt. And it's like, I think if you're really dedicated to it, you will find a way. Like, no matter what, if you want 720, you will find those Cogs and you will get it done. It's either you're gonna be the person buying the Cogs, or you're gonna find someone with the Cogs. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? I feel like my hard cap for like exalts is probably like around 500. Like realistically, I'm 300 right now. I could see myself getting 200 more exalts just because of pure enjoyment of the game, just kind of playing it whenever I feel like it, doing some random seasonals, kind of hopping on characters I like because new items drop, and I'm exploring the game still because I'm like coming back to it. But I think after that point, I feel like something's gonna snap again, where it's like I have to do 35 to 40 plus Cogs to make the number go up by 1. And this is on a lot of characters. I'm not doing those. Like, that's just painful, you know what I mean?
What classes do you think you're least likely to exalt on?
If I'm not thinking about it, and like if my mind was off and I just kept clicking characters and playing them, and I didn't have any thought in my mind, I think the last character that I would fully exalt would be Priest, unless I got the Lantern and like kimono like set. Then that would probably get bumped up to being like the 5th character I'd exalt, like fully exalt. Mm-hmm. And then it'd be like Necro next. So it'd be between Necro or Priest depending on what I get. Because I think Necro is a great character for not dying, but that's it. It's like you have staff and you have lifesteal, and then that's all you have. Take it or leave it.
Come on, man. I like Necro. That was my first exalted class.
Yeah, I'm not saying Necro's bad. I'm just saying like...
It is rather boring.
Yeah, it's a very one-track mind playstyle. And I think if your goal is just to like kind of absorb the content that's happening around you, then I think Necro's great. Because it's a perfect class to kind of just be like, hey, I'm playing with my friends. I'm kind of low on HP. I'm going to just press right-click and bam, I'm full HP. And I healed some people too. I'm doing my part, you know what I mean?
It's very forgiving.
Unless you're a mental memory gamer, then you're crazy.
Or a fucking Cog Bolt Skull.
Yeah, unless you're Brain Cube.
Yeah. Top 3 changes you'd want to see in the game.
Not whack-ass hitbox. Can we please expand the potion storage? I'll pay $20 more to double it. Can we remove Cogs and just make Fungals give 2 exalts again? I think we made a mistake.
Yeah, I think we need to reel it back a little bit.
It's okay to admit to mistakes. I'm a man who always says, like, I make mistakes too. I think Cogs are a mistake.
Honestly, I'm not that, like, fucked up about Cogs. I actually prefer it over Fungal. I don't like Fungal, man.
I think Fungal's wonderful, because everything in Fungal does something nice. Like, you got the Crystal Clear that gives you Decas. You have the boss, which is like, you actually need like a pretty good assortment of classes to make the boss like go fast. And I think that's good. I think class assortment's great. Like at face value, if you're not like a lazy person and you're actually hitting the enemies, the clear doesn't even take that long. And I think the boss is like cool. I like the dinosaur. It runs at you.
Since our last episode, I finally completed Fungals and I finally completed Cogbalds, and I gotta say, 2 Cogbalds and I was already cooked mentally. I cannot fucking do it. Fungals are so much better.
Yeah, and you did like 9 times more like Fungal.
They really just the boss needs to stop going invulnerable every 5 fucking seconds. And I think the dungeon would be a lot better. Because actually more than half of the fucking fight in Cog is just the boss going invulnerable. Holy shit.
Yeah. No, I think someone told me like, yeah, you're back. Like you're playing of exalting. I'm like, yeah, like what's the Cog dungeon like? Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you know, like it's around like 8 minutes to do, but 2 of those minutes are watching the boss be invincible, transform, type some stuff in chat and move around while you go hit some blue shields. And I'm like, are you serious? And it's like, yes. You barely hit the actual boss, besides, like, maybe, like, the last few phases. Like, he phases pretty easily. He has a low HP threshold for each phase. And that's why it's long. I think they just need to cut the amount of times you HP threshold, and then he just selects random phases, besides, like, an ending phase, you know what I mean? It would make the fight so much faster. Sure, would it be a little bit more boring? We are doing an easy Exalt dungeon. I don't think it matters if it's boring or not. I think we should keep the spiciness for advanced cogs, and then, like, we buff all the engravings for advanced cogs.
If advanced cogs was even spicy, that finale is so boring and also so bullshit in some ways. The minion phase on the conveyor belt is stupid.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Like, I think I watched one person stream a nest to me. I was like, I can do this. And I went in and I did it. And I was like, okay. But I've died in advanced nest too, so I'm not going to make it seem like I'm a pro. But I got, like, what to do immediately. In that dungeon, I think I could watch 20 people do it, and I still won't clear right now.
Yeah, and the finale's like, you know, it's the fucking finale. It's like, you clear a cog out for like 15 minutes just to Nexus at the first half of finale. And then, oh, time to go try it again. Dude, it's dumb. It's fucking... And there's no practicer for it like there is for Patience and Celestial.
Yep. There's no tool to practice it, and we don't have, like, rehearsal cog keys or something where it puts you right at the boss, you know what I mean?
The thing is, nobody can make a tool for it because, like, the fucking the finale phase, it changes like 5 times. I don't think anybody's gonna waste the time to program anything for that. Like, you're just gonna have to figure it out.
I mean, why would you? It gives you nothing, and if you really want to do it that bad, you'll figure it out on your own.
But you get 2 cog bags, dude. That's 2 chances at chain dagger.
Yes! Okay, okay. We need to talk about this real fast. We need to talk about all the bad whites in this game. Like, unironically, there are so many bad items in this game that could be really cool in concept. Let's think about it. Oh, like the crystallized walkie, the one that throws the balls around you. Why is that so bad? Actually, another thing, why is there only one good sheath in the game?
Sheath.
Yeah, for Kensei.
Like,
I mean,
like, I think that's stupid. There's only one good sheath. There's only one good summon. There's only one good cloak. Oh my god, it's a miracle. We have one good cloak.
There's 2 good summons. There's Incubation Mace.
Yeah, but it got nerfed by 60%.
Still pretty good. I think it's still pretty good.
Yeah. But like, you should just be using Peacekeeper.
Yeah, you should just use Peacekeeper. Like, the MP upkeep on... Yeah, it's pretty fucking insane.
And it's like, people whine about Samurai because they're like, the multi-tool saved it, but it's no one wants to go kill trains. Go do some trains if you want it that bad. If it's your god sent, like, thing to play Samurai, go do them. Like, what? Like, so, like, we only have one good ability in most people's eyes. Like, Ninja Stars are, like, booty besides Kunai. I'm not talking about Rage Claws.
So, Rage Claws or Kunai?
There's no Trickster Prism that, like, someone won't have, like, an aneurysm about. Because if you use the O Prism, you're throwing decoys, you get PvP on accident. And if you use Coin, you're gonna get made fun of. There's only Arcana. If you're not using Arcana, what are you doing? You're full skipping. Oh boy. I don't know, man. Like, just use Murky. Don't use Polarity. Polarity users are pussies.
There are too many class balance issues. Way too many.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, but stuff like that where it's like, okay, I just listed, like, what, half the classes? Like, what, like 9 of them? And all of them have, like, a Abyss ability when we have, like, infinite abilities for them. When everything could do something really unique. And Deca has shown they can make unique things. They literally made a seal that takes your HP and scales off of your dex to put a debuff on the enemy for you to do more damage to it. That's sick. Like, they have the creativity, but I just feel like it's getting put everywhere. Instead, we get, like, glowing pets. We get glowing Exalted Oryx pet skin.
Oh, that thing actually just griefs. Holy shit.
And it's like, thanks, Deca. Like, this is what we needed. We didn't need better item balancing to have more fun, to have better, like, loadouts. No, we wanted epilepsy warning. Yes. And I get it. Like, when you want to do a lot of things, or if your workload is put on something else, you obviously can't make these great things for the game. But I feel like at that point, you should take a step back and see what, like, the community, like, needs or, like, would want. Like, obviously, the Realm rework is, like, chef's kiss. They did a really good idea making these items, and I'm obviously praising it because I genuinely think it's really good. But I feel like these are things they could have slowly implemented into other things, making the game have a wider pool of things to get. and making it have a better gameplay loop because now it's a scavenger hunt. You're like, you want a cool item? Go over here, do this dungeon. Let's not do halls for 75 times and be sad. Because who wants Void Bow?
Speaking of halls, the Pub Halls Discord, how do you feel about where it is right now, and do you have any future goals for it?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
It's like my illegitimate child that I love dearly.
What the hell?
The hell, dude?
What?
What the
Don't
hell?
be mad.
It's like
This is mine. Don't take this
So,
away from
future
me.
plans, Moonlight Banner, I don't know,
Okay. Unironically, like on a serious note, let's lock in, right? The
I'm
future for
locking
the
in.
server, I do want to touch every part of the game. Like I think we've unlocked the entry barrier of newer players getting into the server and playing it. I have seen like people recommend this game and know me personally from other communities and be like, talk to this guy, he'll get you into the server and you'll enjoy it. And they like the game because they get to go run stupid stuff, dude. I do nests and the little newbies are running around like, I need my G-Dex, and they're like all happy that I'm like telling stories and they're just killing the
What
big
the
bee.
hell?
Like, like it's fun, you know what I mean? It's nice to have fun with a group of people and it's interactive. I think that's what I love about the server. And
Let's
the future of it
go.
is like I want to expand it so other people can enjoy that. I want you to be endgame and I want you to be chilled like the endgame leaders. Like I want people to organize runs and instead of it more being like a teaching, it's kind of more of like a, hey, let's crank out some stuff efficiently. Let's have fun with each other. You know what I mean?
Pub
At
Halls
the end of the day, it's an
Monopoly.
MMO.
Pub Halls
And
Monopoly.
I think everyone should have fun with each other. I think that's the biggest thing that people forget. Like, we're all playing the same game at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how you're playing it. It doesn't matter if you're playing like a little baby. It doesn't matter that you're playing like a Chad and you have 4-4 gear and you're just running it down. Everyone's there to get the dungeon complete and everyone should enjoy the game properly. And I feel like I want the server to kind of be a hub to encapsulate everyone having a great time playing with each other. And I think that's the biggest thing. If you want to be a person that wants to be in a deeper community and talk to other people about dungeon mechanics, become staff. If you want to be just a raider who's really good, we made a new role for endgame people. So you don't have to listen to people. You just go do the dungeons and go enjoy yourself. Go stream. Just don't leak location. Go show yourself pumping. Have a good time. Do what you want to do. That's the point of pub. It's kind of like the enabler of the game. I want it
What
to
the
just
hell?
be like an add-on. You know what I mean?
I think that's my favorite thing about pub, just like the teaching aspect of it. Because every time I'm like, guys, I don't know how to do this fucking dungeon. And then someone would be like, it's okay, I call for you. I'm like, thanks, dude. But I feel like it also gets messed up because so many of some staff, current or previous, whatever, they are so mean to raiders or other people for no reason. And that brings the image of pub halls down so much and like the image of discords as a whole. My personal philosophy, I think, like, we're all burgers in the end. We're just like people. Like, I talked to somebody the other day and he's like, why does my item look different? And I had to explain to him what shinies were. Bro didn't know that he had a shiny, and I love those kinds of moments. But then somebody else encounters the same kind of raider and just like absolutely wails on them for being a fucking idiot, which is just like, come on, man, we're just here to play a game. You as like a server owner, like, I'm sure you get like a fair amount of hatred and you hear about your own staff treating raiders like burgers. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say burgers. Treating raiders like not very
She was about
nicely.
to say burgers again.
I know, I had to stop myself. Burger brain. Treating raiders not very nicely. But like, what's your personal philosophy? Because I know it can vary between each person, what they see in game, what our rules are, and then how they actually want to treat people.
I think rules are just guidelines to make the server actually function. I tell everyone this whenever like a staff member comes to me and kind of talks to me like, how would you punish people? It's like, I don't punish people based on what they did. It's just kind of more so like, think of like, kind of like more so like why they did it. Like if someone's purposely like griefing, then they're trying to ruin someone's fun. They shouldn't be able to play with other people. But if someone's like under Rex and they don't know better, and like they're getting mad because like they know they're not gonna be able to play their like game for the next 3 days. Because you have to, I think people have to realize, like, we are a gateway to playing the game. And when you kind of take it away from people, you're ruining, like, someone's weekend. Like, imagine if you're a high schooler, you brought like, some, like, dinky tier 8 sword, and you get suspended for the entire weekend. There goes your weekend plans, you know what I mean? As, like, lame as it sounds for some people, like, I don't play Rome over the weekend. Like, stop lying, that's one thing. And two, That's what people just like. Like, this is like their main game for some people. When you take it away from some people, it's like I comp ban someone because they misplayed one thing. That's messed up, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't fully throw the game. Like, this person running this tier 8 sword didn't make the dungeon unclearable. The only reason we have the rules is so everyone isn't running a tier 8 sword in the dungeon and making it take 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a two-way street. I feel like securities need to express why we enforce these rules. It's not because we're just mean. It's not because I want to, like, monopolize Realm of the Mad God. It's because I want people to have a decent time clearing these things. We bring this rec amount because it's to make things smoother and for you to enjoy the game. I don't think anyone wants to be an NPC for 15 minutes. That's miserable. Just go play a different game at that point.
I feel like that's so hard to teach some of the staff members too about punishing based on intention instead of like actual mistakes, because they'll see somebody under Rex and be like, yeah, no negotiations, 2 weeks suspend, and we're like, what are you doing, dude? Like, come on.
And honestly, I think my answer to that is like, you shouldn't do something that's based with other people. And I think people securities kind of see other people kind of as like a number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is my quota. I need to do this. If someone's kind of like stopping them and like kind of trying to like talk to them, like, you're getting it in my way of my number. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you're here to just kind of increase rating quality. That's the end of the thing. You know what I mean? That's why you're here. And also like the other security stuff. But you know what I mean? When it comes to like actual securities in raid, it's to make the rating quality better. I think if people can show their case and kind of be like, hey man, I'm doing my part, and if they could prove it in any sort of way, then just let them free. You know what I mean? Again, if they're not griefing and if they're not ruining the dungeon and they're avidly helping, you shouldn't punish the player for that. Like, just let them play the game. You know what I mean?
I don't know why I had like a visual of like letting them free. I had like a visual of like
Okay.
someone
No, you don't have to
just
finish
like
that sentence.
chewing on like the jail bars, like please,
You
please
don't
let
need to
me
finish
raid.
that.
I'm sorry.
Fuck me.
Unhinged.
I don't know what goes through her mind, dude.
Dude, me neither.
Okay, I want to touch on one more thing. What's your favorite? This one's a personal one, so we're probably gonna edit it out. But your favorite era of pub?
Area of pub?
Era.
Error.
Oh,
Era.
What is wrong with us?
Error. Anyway, as mean as it's going to sound,
Oh no.
I think it's like when as I was quitting the game, that was like my favorite point. I think that's when there's a lot of other servers that also kind of cared about like efficiency and like just playing the game. You know what I mean?
Wait.
There's just other people.
What year was that?
This is like 2020, 2021.
Oh, I was there. I was part of the era.
Eric.
And like,
Era. Sorry, go on.
I think that's the I think that's the best part for me, because that's where I made like the closest connections with a lot of people. I'm not saying like I don't have any like close bonds with kind of people like right now, but it kind of feels like the people who are into Realm now, that's kind of like them. You know what I mean? Like, their personality is Realm of the Mad
Oh
God.
God.
Yeah. Yes, I know what you mean.
And it kind of sucks, because like before, a lot of the other people they'd just be great personalities. They'd laugh, like the rivals would be funny. People would crash. You'd be able to like make jokes with crashers. It'd be like it'd just be fun. You know what I mean? It's people having fun in their game, making the best out of it. Because at the end of the day, Realm is very bare bone back in the day. You know what I mean? We just got exalts. People are trying to run stuff really fast. Fame was different. Fame was like a whole different ballpark. Now you get like 3 million. Like before, like getting like 100k, like 50k fame was a lot, but now it's like fame goals, woo! Anyway,
Whoa.
I just think it was a time of the game where like people just really, really cared more about like who they were with and like their goals with the people they were with more than like kind of like their own thing. Now I feel like I could pull someone random out of the community and it's like, what do you like about this game? And it's like, it's gonna be a lot more of like their goals in the game, kind of like, instead of being like, nah man, I kind of like that I'm exulting with my friends, or nah man, I like blah blah blah. And I think you can see it a lot more with people who are kind of nearing the end of their goal, because they're more so like, I don't care about anyone else besides my goal right now, and like one other thing maybe. That's kind of whack, you know what I mean? I feel like the best players are the players that are able to be different. Because I feel like they see the game in a different light than a lot of other people. And I think that's why that was my favorite staff team as well, because there's a bunch of people who genuinely, no one like fought just to fight each other. No one was like passive aggressive to each other. Like everyone genuinely just wanted to work on the server and everyone was friends. We didn't take shit from people. Like someone would be like, this is bad, and everyone would stand their ground and fight their own argument. Like we were friends from admin to RL. Everyone was kind of together and enjoying each other. Their presence, like just the different games we play. People would branch out and do other stuff. There's still aspects of that in pub, but I kind of feel like it's more just kind of like you kind of get your friends and go, where before it'd kind of just be like a lot of people. And I think a big part of it was I did own my own guild when I had that era. Good old Wide People Clap. I love everyone there. If this segment doesn't get cut out, if any of them are watching, they know who they are. They genuinely made... That was probably my favorite year of this game. Like, that, it'll never be topped. Like, they were people who were, like, committed to the game. They loved playing it. They loved doing things in the server. We were always willing to just do new things. Even, like, failure was fun. We were down to fuck up. We were down to yell at each other for doing stupid stuff, and we all had stupid moments. But I think at the end of the day, we all look back, and it's like, it was a fun clusterfuck, you know what I mean? We all enjoyed ourselves. But I feel like now, people are so afraid to, like, mess up. I feel like there's a lot more, like... Yeah, it's a lot more, like, professionalism. Every time I talk about stuff now, it's like, what about the PR? And it's like, dude, we're playing a fucking game.
Dude, for real, though. Oh my god.
I think that's why. Like, I kind of like the server more when it was the Wild West. It's like, I could fuck something up and I could laugh about it. I feel like if I fuck something up now, I kind of get like the SMH, admin coming back from an activity, of course, I expect this. Like, I kind of get like shamed, you know what I mean? And I feel like it adds more pressure than I had before, because before I feel like the pressure I had before was because like I was always around and now I was losing interest in the game. So it's kind of like a detachment kind of like issue. But now it just kind of feels like a bar, like hold up like a standard issue where it's like, you have this power, why aren't you using it? And I'm like, that's because some things don't need to be changed and some things do. And some things should be changed for fun. I think exploring stuff is the best thing about a game and its community. And I think, actually, I'm not going to name drop, but previous staff that were more active, I think kind of see it when I go talk to them about them, because I think a lot of the like old stuff I still talk to and we kind of like talk about the server still, because I'm still around. And I think the biggest thing is, it's like, I'll mention things that we want to do with the server, and they'd be like, nah, man, I'd vote yes on it, because, like, I'm down the clown, you know what I mean? It's fun to have new stuff. I think Ken Sonia would, if he was here right now, and he probably feels it super hard. It's back like when we first, like, implemented full skipping. You see something, you kind of see the potential of it, and it's like, if it fails, it fails, but if it doesn't, you make something really fun, you know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest thing, kind of getting, like, a seed and letting it blossom, and, like, we have the wiggle room to make things blossom, you know what I mean? We could literally try to go make the most like advanced pirate cave clearing guide and make that our goal, and like it would be just a fun little thing we do if people are dedicated to it. And it's just because we have like a lot more firepower now and a lot more people dedicated to the game. But I feel like people are really afraid of change, and I think that's like the worst part about the server right now. And that's why I wouldn't even say, like, even though this year has been going great, I probably would not say this would be, like, my favorite, like, era of the server. It would definitely be that time. Especially when, like, the bot was breaking and shit, and, like, you actually had to be on your toes. I felt like being an admin before kind of felt like being the best damage control I could be, because we would never know what was happening. Like, we were always stressing about stuff. Like, there was, Discord was super, like, bad at, like, responding about certain things. Like, we'd have to improvise a lot. It really was like oh my god, I actually have to make a split-second decision, where now it's kind of like more like methodical. It's kind of more annoying that it's methodical, because people are like, do it now. Like, why aren't you doing this? And it's like, listen, man, I'd love to, but there's more like checks and balances in place now, where it kind of makes the server kind of feel more like a job than it is like a hobby.
Shadow leader.
Manual verifications for 2 weeks.
But yeah, that's definitely it.
That was definitely a good era of pub, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on, but fucking an hour and a half. Like, I'll get you back on in a couple of weeks. Don't you fucking worry.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, yeah, I'm actually I can't believe I'm a reoccurring character.
Yeah. Sammy won't be here to save you, though.
Yeah. Save him. I'm in his roles.
Save him. What the hell, dude? What the hell?
A little creature, dude. Look in your
I'm
corner.
gonna get ya. I'm gonna get ya.
I'm gonna
Tickle,
get you.
tickle.
Tickle. Oh, what the hell?
You want to plug anything?
Oh.
Any final thoughts to the viewers?
Oh!
Oh my
Forgot I was
god.
saying this.
What the hell?
I know you know what I'm gonna say.
I don't know what you're gonna say. I don't know. Oh, no. Please, no.
But yeah. Oh, but genuine thing, and I want to end off with if anyone ever has questions about the server, I'm really willing to answer them. Just please actually say the question before you DM me. Don't say hi, period. I'm not gonna respond. I work full time and I go to school. If I see hi, period, I'm going to ignore you. But if you have like a genuine question about the server and you want to actually know how it functions, I will answer most questions as clearly as possible without obviously leaking like things that I can't leak.
Yeah, you know what? Leave it in the comments, and then I'll go link it to Dino, each and every one.
Yeah, and then I can. I can't wait for these amazing comments.
Or I'll answer them. Officer Pubbles, by the way.
Yeah, no, don't do that
Dude.
one.
I can't even think of what to say. Holy shit. What the hell's wrong with me?
Thank you to our patrons, Juix from Unnamed Studios and Leppy. If you'd like to support our Patreon, you can find us at patreon.com/decadebrief. You can email us with inquiries at contact@decadebrief.com. Shout out to DJ Quad for our intro and outro music, and thank you to our guest.
Goodbye. This is, Dino, say bye.
Huh?
Dino, say bye.
Say bye.
Goodbye.
This has been Deca Debrief. You can consider yourself debriefed.